let's talk about the weakest UFC fighters in every division. Now, I feel like I'm going to have some hot takes in this video, but I need you guys to understand what weak really is. Like, it doesn't mean they're bad. I can kind of explain it like this. At the start of Monday, they feel bleak. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, they just sleep. They act like Thursday don't exist because it's just ass and making meek. But once the weekend comes around, they swear to God it just be peak. So you wonder why that makes them trash. Because 7 days gon' make him weak. Yeah, baby, yeah. Woo! You get what I did there, brother? 7 days weak, brother. These fighters are weak. They're garbage. They're actually not garbage. And a lot of them I actually like. There's some of them I like in this video, so I didn't really want to put them. But I got to be honest. Like, the top 5 in every division, of course, has the best fighters. But I feel like some of them, okay, first of all, some people in the top 5 in these divisions that really shouldn't be there, in my opinion. Like, I'm like, how the hell did they even get there? You know, like, brother, who this guy? You know, like, this guy's ahead of this guy. I will show the rankings per each division so you guys see the top 5, but I'm also going to put the rankings on the screen. Starting off with the flyweight, I hate that I'm going to say this. Tatsuro Taira. And why I hate it is because he's one of my favorite fighters. Now, I'll put the top 5 of the flyweight on the screen right now. But I feel like, although people might think Royval beat him. Like, Royval beat him. And it's because Tatsuro Taira, he's a specialist, but his weaknesses are a little bit more significant than just a striking weakness. I actually don't mind his offensive striking. It's his defensive capabilities on the feet when he gets his takedown stuff later on in fights and he's forced to stand. That's where I feel the most nervous as a huge Tatsuro Taira fan, but he's 26, he's a young guy, strong, a little bit handsome, you know, and I support this guy. You know, he's one of my favorites, so it kind of sucks when you have to, like, point out his flaws. And, like, flyweight is really stacked, man. Like, you got Joshua Van there, you got Manil Cap, you got some like Brandon Royval. You got some talented competitors there. But I feel like now that Brandon Moreno's not in the top 5, I feel like Tatsuro Taira is like that guy to point to and kind of be like, yeah, he's kind of a little bit lackluster, you know. So I do think Tatsuro Taira grappling, like being a primary grappler, although it's a great thing to be in flyweight because a lot of flyweights aren't primary grapplers. What if you go against a Brandon Royval who you can take down, but it's a 5-round fight, and then later in the fight, you're getting a little bit more sloppy with their takedowns because you're not able to get them out of there early, you know? So you start to fold on yourself, and you start to get punched, and the accumulation happens. You're taking damage. That's the scary thing, especially regarding someone like Tatsuro Taira, who's still young and still developing. So I feel like he will lose to a good amount of... He could lose to some people in the top 5. I also think he's good enough to be champion. So it's a weird thing because, like I said, the flyweights are all very close in skill, in my opinion. Can Tatsuro Taira beat Joshua Van? Sure. Do I think he will? No, but I think it's possible. You know, he's a very talented guy, you know, so I don't want to disrespect, brother. This is not disrespect. This is like, I respect this guy, but I do think out of everyone, he is the weakest person in the top 5. So, like, it's not a shot. It's more of like, I just feel like he has a significant hole in his game where it can get exploited, especially in 5-rounders. And he's at the point of his career that he's probably going to get main events now for fight nights or be fighting for the title for a 5-round championship fight. So once you reach that level of fighting, you should be ready and well equipped for a 5-round fight. And I feel like his one time against Royval, it kind of showed that if you're not ready for someone with good cardio and who could stuff your takedowns later on in the fight, is going to be a problem. But then again, he can go in there and finish people early like he did at Brandon Moreno. You know, he could do that. But it just comes down to if you could get them out. And I don't like playing that if game, especially with flyweights who are very hard to take down because they're very scrappy, very scramble heavy. I know Horiguchi's also number 5, but I feel like Horiguchi's pretty good defense. That would be a good fight. I think Taira could beat Horiguchi, but I could also see it going the ladder because Horiguchi has really good distance management and can kind of be in and out if he ever fought a Taira. And Taira might not have, like, be close enough to shoot intelligent takedowns, so he might try to force entries that aren't there. It would be a great fight, you know, a little bit Asian on Asian crime, you know, Taira versus Horiguchi. I think they're both Japanese as well. That would be interesting. I don't know if they even want to fight each other, you know, but time will tell. But yeah, I do think he's probably the weakest because I feel like he has a little bit of holes that he needs to patch up. But moving on from flyweight, I got bantamweight, and I have to go with Song Yadong. Now, brother, it looks like, Kenny, why you hate on Asian fighters? What's stop the Asian hate? Yeah, she bad, brother. You know, my Korean brothers know, brother. I love my Asian family, brother. But Yadong, man, he's weak. He's a weak for the top 5. He lost to O'Malley. O'Malley's probably the second choice, honestly, if I was going to be completely honest here. I feel like O'Malley's the runner-up in this section, but I do think Song Yadong, my biggest problem with him has always been his output. I feel like sometimes he's low output. He's very explosive, but he's low output. I actually never seen him as a crazy fighter. Like, he's never been one of my favorites or like someone I was always saying he's a future champion. I've always known he was solid, but just not solid enough. I don't even think he's top 5 skill. Maybe he is though. I don't know. I have to see more of him, but I feel like he's explosive, yes, but like I feel like sometimes he takes a little bit to get going, and then sometimes he falls into a low of point fighting people who are better point fighters than him. I feel like his fight with Cejudo showed that. I don't even know how Cejudo was like had an injury and he was like, I don't even know, but Cejudo was doing really good with him, only throwing like a straight punch. Yeah, Yadong's interesting, man. He's interesting, you know. I don't know. I never really rated him that crazy, but he is in the right at the edge of the number 5 spot. I think he could beat some people who aren't worthy. Like he makes for a good gatekeeper, but like forever for the belt, brother, who give him, brother? Too much people. Like Alexander Topuria will probably move up soon and beat him up. You know, I see people like Farid Basra giving him good fights. You know, I see just people who are like some people unranked, some people high in the rankings who could definitely give him problems. So I do think he's the weakest person in the top 5, and I think it's justified. I don't think that's a rude thing to say, man. I think it's just, man, you know. And the people in the comments, like, yeah, no, I don't know about that guy. Oh, I'm being honest, bro. I'm being dead ass. I don't think Yadong is all that great. He's good at what he's good at, which is being strong and kind of explosive. But brother, outside of this, who this guy? You know, I think I need more from him. Handsome guy though, you know, respect this guy. All right, moving on. We'll go into the featherweight weight class. I think it's Diego Lopez. Now, what could be a hot take here is a lot of people are going to probably gravitate towards that Yair Rodriguez, and I wouldn't even mind that. There's a difference between Yair and Diego, though. You know, if they were to fight, I feel as if Yair, if it's a 3-rounder, because it probably would be something like that, unless it's a main event on a fight night, I feel like Yair is going to be heavy on the output, whereas Diego's going to be looking and trying to find a moment. But I rate the guy who I'm more sure of would probably be heavier on the output. It's weird because I go back and forth with this one. It's a close fight, but I feel like his lack of output sometimes and kind of it's weird because he'll pressure you, but he won't let his hands go. So it's like almost like he's chasing you just to run into low kicks and counter punches. I feel like stylistically that could play into Yair's. You know, Yair could love that. Yair could just keep low kick, you know, circle 1, 2, and keep circling and just frustrate him. You know, I could see that happening. I could see Diego Lopez be like, "Come on, man, come on, I want to fight, man." Walking him down, trying to land something big, brother. I don't know, man. And they have beef. They should have been fought. You know. But like this is why I don't look at Volk's win over him, because people saw the Volk win rematch and like, dude, he's a goat now. Now Volk's solidified goat. Shut up. Like, shut up. You don't mean that, you know. What do you mean that? I don't know, brother. I just don't. Like, Lopez, I'm not saying Lopez is bad. I just say his fight style is very particular. You know, I think he could be other people who are somewhat low output. You know, he kind of reminds me of like a featherweight Carlos Prates in a way, but less length. You know, and like a little bit better grappling. He's not bad though. Like Diego Lopez will beat a lot of people. He's in the top 5 for a reason. Him at number 2 spot's a little bit iffy to me. I think there's people better. Even Lerone Murphy, I could see like stick and moving against him. And I don't rate Lerone. A lot of people might say Lerone could be here too, but Lerone's actually good at stick and moving. And Lopez doesn't have enough output, I feel like, sometimes. So he will lose to people he should be. Like, I think Lopez is unironically better than Lerone, if that makes sense, but I don't see him beating him. It's weird. It's a weird one with Diego. You know, I wish Diego let his hands go more. Because there's a point Diego did let his hands go. Do you guys remember, like, when you couldn't even close the distance against Diego? Because he would just he'll get in a clinch and just start, like, he'll actually throw. You know, lately I feel like he's been pausing. I know he's going against people who move a lot, like Volk and stuff. But even against Gene Silva, like, when they were forced to stand, it almost looked like he was just standing there taking damage from Gene Silva. Lately he's been, like, a little bit less, you know, less trigger happy, which is not good. So I feel like he's probably the weakest right now in the top 5, and he's number 2. So that's definitely a hot take. But brother, I apologize. This is my opinion. Moving on from featherweight, lightweight BSD. This is a no-brainer. You know, BSD is interesting, man. And Patty's out of the top 5, by the way. If you guys didn't know, I'll put it up on the screen. But the thing about BSD is so bad. I did pick Dan Hooker to beat him. Everything I said in my prediction video was correct. I said Dan Hooker was going to just be piecing him up. He was stuffed the takedowns. Dan Hooker did all of that. He hurt him to the body. Dan Hooker was having a field day. Then Dan Hooker shot a takedown on him. No, Dan Hooker, who's not even a top 5 skill person, was beating up BSD pretty comfortably, but decides to shoot a takedown. I will say his grappling is good. Like, if you shoot a takedown on him as a striker, which first of all, you should have a mental evaluation if you're doing that. To be fair, Dan Hooker, he's always been a little bit loopy, kind of, I love this shit, you know, but I never thought he was like, I love losing this shit. Like, I didn't know he was going to want to lose fights, you know, but if you just fight BSD like a normal human being, stuff his takedowns, force him to stand, put it on his face, you'll beat him up. He's not good, man. He doesn't beat anyone in the top 5. He probably could beat like a Patty. Maybe not, though. I don't even know. Because Patty, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he beats Patty. Patty's not even in the top 5, but I'm just saying in general, like, BSD's not, like, if you could beat BSD, You know, as long as you don't make stupid mistakes. You know, I wouldn't mind Dan Hooker shooting a takedown if he could grapple, but it was a little bit weird that Dan Hooker shot. You know, you can't make some things up, but and I think Dan Hooker's like top 15 skill, like not even top 5. Like no, dude, like maybe top 15, but. You know, BSD is just very beatable. His style is very like, I'm going to come forward. You could counter punch me. I'm probably going to get finished if you keep me standing. But if you shoot a takedown on me or make a mistake, I'll take advantage of it. He's very much of a brute. A good counter puncher will beat him 9 times out of 10. A good person who could grapple as well will probably beat him 9 times out of 10. Not very good to me. His best win is probably Dan Hooker, which is cool. You know, even Dustin Poirier, who made like thousands of mistakes, still beat him outside of his prime. Like jumping those 1,000 of guillotines were just dumb, but he still beat him because he just walked into stuff. Like, who does this guy think he is? Like, you think you're something you're not, dude. You just walk into people. You're winning. I'll applaud you for this, brother, but you're not that good. And I know everyone's on the hype train, but Kenny, he's so badass. They're doing this shit. Like, people are going to French mosh pits like this, dude, like bumping into people like, rock on, dude. BSD. BSD. Shut up. Bro, I know everyone's doing that, man. I know all the BSD fans are doing that shit. They're like rocking on. They're playing the guitar and shit. Dude, like, if you think he's good, sure, I can't change your opinion. Because if you think that's fight style is interesting, you think it's good. I can't convince you otherwise, because if you're convinced he's good, you're never going to not be convinced. But once he goes against anyone else who's not going to make mistakes, you'll lose 9 times out of 10. But he's definitely the weakest in top 5, and I'm passionate about that point. That's all that matters. All right, moving on from lightweight, because I'm done looking at this guy with his ugly, a little bit angry expression. Brother, why you angry at me? I just make video. Why you looking at me like this? Anyways, welterweight, I got Michael Morales. Now, I was looking at the top 5, and I was like, you know... I put on my Cowabunga voice. I was like, I know, man. Prates might get him, you know. Prates was the second option here. But I think Prates could beat him, dude. Like, Prates is like, they're both... Okay, I feel like Prates is more inclined of being good in like in a 5-rounder. If they get booked in a 5-rounder, I could see Prates. And Prates has a pretty solid chin, and I feel like Prates hits just as hard as Morales. If that makes sense. Like, Prates kind of puts people to sleep. Morales' knockout against Sean Brady was not out cold, but it was cool. But Sean Brady also panicked. Like, it was such a weird fight, man. You know, I see people like Ian Gary, who I think would just outpoint him very comfortably and has good grappling and stuff. You know, the champion, of course, beats him. I think Bilal Muhammad just had a really close fight, if not beat Ian Gary, arguably. I think he does the same thing to Michael Morales. And it really just comes down to Carlos Prates and Morales. That's what I think. And Usman's not even in the top 5, but Usman beats Morales, in my opinion, too. Morales is good, but I feel like people are very hyped about his Sean Brady performance, as you should be, because only person to ever TKO Sean Brady before that was Bilal Muhammad. And to be fair, Bilal has some crazy power, so that's justified. Kind of making jokes here, but yeah, he's good, man. He got Sean Brady. Sean Brady didn't shoot like a clean takedown with, like, I'm not talking about like, oh, shooting when you're like dazed and pressured. I'm talking about a clean takedown entry. He kind of like was playing because I'll be fair to Sean Brady, he was landing punches on him. Like, Sean Brady was landing pretty good 1-1-2s on him. So I think he got a little bit confident, and then Morales just size mogged him. You know, but you're getting tagged up by Brady, bro. You'll get tagged up by a lot of other people, man. And you're not bad. You're physically imposing, but physical imposition is not going to put you in the title picture and get you a win. You know, you can fight anyone, but I think your next fight you're going to lose, man. It seems like he wants JDM. I think JDM beats him to a pulp, respectfully. I think JDM's just a lot better of a striker, and he'll beat him over the course of 5 rounds very comfortably. Moving on from this, though, I know that's going to be a hot take. People are going to disagree with that. We're going to go to the middleweight division. And I got Brendan Allen. Yo, would you guys believe me if I told you Brendan Allen's ahead of Israel Adesanya in the rankings? Oh my God, that's crazy. I saw that and I started smiling, low-key. I don't know why. I was like, damn, how we falling, man. How we falling. But nah, I just think Brendan Allen's kind of whack. Yeah, but dude, he beat up Marvin Vettori, Kenny. No one does that to Marvin Vettori. That's true, you know. I had to rewatch the Marvin Vettori fight. I was like, damn, no one does that to Marvin, eh? So how is Brendan Allen doing it to him? He's just not good to me. Yeah, I think anyone in the top 5 beats him. I don't think this one's particularly close. My second option was actually going to be going, I think, Fluffy. Because I think Strickland's going to be Fluffy too. So I don't even know who my second option would be, honestly. I forgot off the top of my head. But I think this is just an obvious one. So who cares about a second option? I think everyone in the top 5 beats him. I think Izzy's in the top 6. He beats him. I think even Berhalo beats him, who's not in the top 5. I think a lot of people can beat Brendan Allen, man, for sure. So he's not bad. He's just not good. Like, he reminds me of, like, he's more of a, I get more, like, I don't know how to explain it, like Mark Andre vibes, or like GM3, like not G, I don't want GM3 Max him, but like, he's like a good fighter who could beat bad fighters, but he can't be good fighters because they're too good for him. You know, like, he gives me vibes that like Curtis Blades will beat him 9 times out of 10, but he'll get a couple robberies on him, you know? Stuff like that. That's the vibes I get from him. I don't get like he's the GOAT kind of vibe. So yeah, respectfully, I think Brendan Allen's the worst ranked person. I don't think that should be that controversial. Moving on from that, light heavyweight, I got Khalil Roundtree. Now, the number 5 ranked in this weight class is Jan Blachowicz, and I feel like Jan could beat him. I feel like Khalil's good at fighting for 2 rounds or like 1.5 rounds, but I don't think that's what good really is that, especially in a position where he could be getting put in 5 rounders. He's really good in those first 2 rounds. And he could beat some people outside of the top 5, by stealing 2 rounds and losing the last one. But I feel like where he's at right now, the top 5, like Yuri's would beat him. Pereira would beat him. Ankalaev would beat him. Asma is not even in the top 5. He's number 6, but he'll beat him. And I think Carlos Ulberg would beat him because he probably wouldn't even lose those first couple rounds as well. I think Jan Blachowicz, like, all these guys beat him. He's just the weakest in the top 5. It's not even that he's bad. He's good at what he's good at, but he's good at what he's good at. I'll say it like that. He's good at what he's good at. Fighting hard Muay Thai for 2 rounds, but I just don't think he has, like, the way he fights, he's too explosive and too, like, he throws everything 100%, so he fatigues quicker, which is normal for a human being to do. But when he fatigues, he just takes too much damage, and that's not good doing that against other light heavyweights who hit like trucks. So that's my opinion on Khalil. Definitely think he's the weakest in the top 5. Last but not least, heavyweight, Curtis Blades. Kuniev, who's not even in the top 5, would beat him and already did beat him, but no one wants to talk about that. I think Cortez Acosta, who's number 5, is better than him and would beat him. Sergey Pavlovich beats him as well. Volkov would beat him. Sarah Gon would beat him, and Tom Aspinall would beat him. Curtis Blades is just, he's who he is. He just didn't win his last fight, but he got rewarded with it. He's just nothing special. That's what I think about when Curtis Blades. He's just nothing special to me. He's one of the few wrestlers in heavyweight, so you think he's better, but yes, I don't know. His last performance wasn't convincing to me, and I do think he did lose that fight. It's just heavyweight. Honestly, heavyweight top 5 doesn't look too bad. Top 6 now doesn't look too bad, but after that, mama, brother, what this weight class? But yeah, for being one of the few wrestlers in this weight class, you would think he's better, but nah, man, he's number 4, and Jalsa Almeida's moving down, so he's probably going to be the only wrestler who's ranked now, I swear, pretty much. But yeah, he's just not that good with that style, man, in my opinion. So I do think he's the worst in his top 5. But let me know what you guys think down below. I feel like I did pretty good in this video. Maybe some disagreements because I have some popular people, but brother, facts don't care about the opinions. Let me know your takes down below. Make sure you guys are liking and commenting and subscribed. Have a good day. God bless. 2, 3, 4.